Dad, that child resembles me so much. The CEO father suddenly halted, taken aback by the unexpected revelation of his twins. Before we get started, I'm curious to hear where you're tuning in from, so please share your country in the comments below. Now, let us embark on this tale of unforeseen revelations and heartfelt reunions. Michael Ellison was the type of individual who thrived in every endeavor he pursued. At 42, he held the position of CEO at Horizon Technologies, a burgeoning leader in the sustainable energy industry. His office offered a view of the Seattle skyline, a symbol of his ascent from middle management to the executive suite in less than 10 years. The Glass Award on his desk commemorated his recent accolade as one of the 40 under 40 business leaders reshaping the Pacific Northwest. Yet, among all his achievements, nothing could rival the brilliance of his son Jamie. At the age of 6, Jamie was a lively and inquisitive young boy, sporting his father's dark curls and his mother's striking green eyes. Following the passing of Michael's wife, Caroline, 3 years prior due to a fierce battle with cancer, a profound connection had blossomed between father and son. Michael had completely transformed his life for Jamie, entrusting more responsibilities at work, establishing clear boundaries on his time, and ensuring that, even in the wake of his mother's passing, Jamie would always feel surrounded by family. "Hey Dad, how about we check out the new playground at Willow Creek Park?" Jamie inquired on a bright Saturday morning as they wrapped up their breakfast. Tyler from school mentioned an incredible pirate ship structure they have. Michael beamed at his son's excitement. "Absolutely, my friend. Allow me to respond to a few emails and then we can be on our way." "You promised no work on Saturday mornings," Jamie reminded him, his expression shifting to one of earnestness. Michael felt a constriction in his chest. His son was correct. Regulations were indeed regulations. "Indeed, you are completely correct. Tasks can hold off for now. Allow me to fetch our jackets, and then we shall embark on our adventure to that pirate ship." Half an hour later, they arrived at the parking lot of Willow Creek Park. The playground teemed with children, scaling heights, soaring through the air, and darting around the intricate wooden designs. Jamie's eyes grew large at the sight of the enormous pirate ship playground, featuring slides for plank walking, rope ladders, and a crow's nest lookout tower. "This is much more impressive than Tyler mentioned," Jamie exclaimed, already unfastening his seatbelt. Michael chuckled heartily. "Wait a moment, Captain. Allow me to ensure I park correctly first." As they strolled toward the playground, Michael felt an overwhelming wave of appreciation wash over him. These were the moments that held significance. The pure delight of seeing his son dash toward adventure, his entire essence aglow with enthusiasm. He felt a familiar pang, wishing Caroline could have experienced this. She often remarked that Jamie's laughter resembled sunlight piercing through the overcast sky. "Dad, may I board the ship? Kindly?" Jamie was nearly bursting with excitement. "Give it your all, my friend. I'll observe from over here," Michael said, gesturing toward a nearby bench that offered a perfect vantage point of the playground. "Remain within my line of sight, all right?" Jamie nodded enthusiastically before sprinting toward the wooden ship. Michael perched on the bench, absorbing the beauty of the spring day around him. Cherry blossoms adorned the park, while the Seattle skyline emerged gracefully through the trees in the distance. He observed Jamie ascend the rope ladder to the ship's upper deck, where a group of children was already immersed in their creative adventures. Michael took out his phone to capture some moments of Jamie enjoying playtime. Caroline had always taken on the role of the family photographer, and since her departure, he had made a deliberate effort to capture these ordinary moments. He was framing an ideal shot of Jamie at the ship's wheel when his son's voice echoed through the air. "Father, father, please come here. Swift." Jamie spoke with a voice full of urgent excitement, devoid of any fear. Michael slipped his phone into his pocket and headed towards the ship's structure. "Hey there," he said as he neared the bottom of the play structure. Jamie's head emerged above the railing, his eyes sparkling with amazement. "Dad, that child resembles me so much." Michael let out a soft laugh. Kids frequently believed they had discovered their lookalikes. "Where is Jamie?" "Look over there, beside the swings." "Hey Dad, Check this out. Michael shifted his gaze toward the direction Jamie indicated. Initially, he noticed nothing out of the ordinary, merely a line of swings occupied by a few children. Then his gaze fell upon a boy soaring higher and higher, his dark curls glinting in the sunlight. Michael felt a sudden jolt in his chest. Next, another one. Time appeared to stretch and bend as he gazed at the child on the swing. The boy possessed the same wild dark hair as Jamie, along with the same nose and chin. Even from this distance, Michael could discern the boy's striking green eyes, reminiscent of Caroline's gaze. As the child propelled himself higher on the swing, his laughter echoed throughout the playground, a sound Michael could identify in an instant. It was the sound of Jamie's laughter. Yet Jamie remained on the ship's structure, observing his father's response. Michael remained motionless, his thoughts swirling as he tried to comprehend the reality before him. This must be a mere coincidence, an odd twist of genetics that resulted in a child bearing an uncanny resemblance to his son. These events occurred, didn't they? As the boy leaped from the swing at its peak, landing with the same bold assurance that Jamie always exhibited, Michael was struck by a chilling awareness that enveloped him. This was more than mere resemblance. This represented identity. Father. Jamie's voice pierced through his astonishment. May I go over and greet him? Michael was momentarily at a loss for words. Well, of course, my friend. Shall we both go and greet them? Jamie hurriedly descended from the vessel and grasped his father's hand. Michael felt a deep sense of appreciation for the connection. He experienced a peculiar sense of disconnection, as though he could drift away from the very fabric of reality if not grounded by the delicate grip of his son's tiny fingers. As they neared the swings, the other boy had shifted his attention to the sandbox close by. He constructed an intricate castle with unwavering focus, his tongue peeking out just at the corner of his mouth, reminiscent of how Jamie appeared when deep in thought. Hello. Jamie exclaimed cheerfully as they arrived at the sandbox. My name is Jamie. You resemble me. The young lad gazed upward, his eyes growing wide with astonishment. He rose gradually, sweeping the sand from his knees. Wow, the boy murmured gently. We appear identical. Michael gasped for air. The two boys stood side by side, nearly identical, with only their clothing setting them apart. Jamie donned a blue dinosaur t-shirt paired with khaki shorts. Another boy sported a red and white striped shirt paired with denim overalls. I'm Ethan, the boy said, observing Jamie with the same intrigue that Jamie was directing at him. Are you also 6? Jamie inquired with enthusiasm. Ethan gave a slight nod. Last month marked the celebration of my birthday. April 14th. April 14th. Celebrating Jamie's special day. Michael sensed his knees buckle beneath him. This was unimaginable. Caroline welcomed their son Jamie into the world. No hints of twins had surfaced, nor any sign that another child existed beyond their knowledge. That's also the day I celebrate my birthday. With wide eyes, Jamie turned to his father, filled with wonder. Dad, our birthdays are on the same day. Whom are you conversing with, Ethan? A voice, distinctly feminine, rang out. Michael glanced up to notice a woman making her way from the direction of the park benches. She had a slim figure, her auburn hair neatly secured in a practical ponytail, dressed in jeans and a light jacket. As she approached, her steps became more measured, her gaze fixated on Jamie before quickly shifting to Michael. Oh my goodness, she murmured, her hand darting to her lips. Michael finally discovered his voice. Pardon me, madam. My name is Michael Ellison, and I would like to introduce you to my son, Jamie. The woman's face had lost all its color. Catherine Porter, she replied, her voice steady and mechanical. Allow me to introduce you to Ethan. Are you the mother of Ethan? Jamie inquired with a sense of naivety. Catherine paused, contemplating her response. I'm actually his aunt. I've been competing against him since he was just a little one. Michael's thoughts were in a whirlwind. Miss Porter, I hope you don't mind my candor, but the similarity between our boys is truly striking. They also celebrate their birthdays on the same day. Catherine's gaze remained fixed on the two boys as they compared their hands, pressing their palms together to determine if they matched in size. Maybe we could find a place to chat? Michael indicated a more tranquil spot in the park with a wave of his hand. Catherine gave a slow nod. Ethan, how about you and Jamie spend some time playing in the sandbox? It could be fun. Please remain in my line of sight, all right? All right, Aunt Katie, Ethan responded, already redirecting his focus to his sandcastle. Jamie, would you like to assist me in constructing the towers? As the boys immersed themselves in their play, Michael and Catherine strolled a little way off, discovering a place where they could maintain a watchful eye on the children while engaging in a private conversation. I believe we both understand what we're observing, Michael murmured, his heart racing. However, I find myself perplexed by how this could be achievable. 6 years ago, my wife, Caroline, welcomed our child, Jamie, into the world. Twins were never brought up at any point. Catherine's hands trembled slightly as she tucked them into her jacket pockets. Mr. Ellison, could you please, Michael? Michael, she amended. What I'm about to share may seem unbelievable, and honestly, just 10 minutes ago, I would have doubted it myself. She inhaled deeply before proceeding. 6 years ago, my sister Lisa was employed as a nurse at Seattle Memorial Hospital. She received her assignment to the maternity ward. One night, she reached out to me, her voice trembling with urgency. She confessed to having made a grave error and was in urgent need of my assistance. Michael listened, an unsettling feeling coiling in his gut. Lisa shared with me that a woman had welcomed identical twin boys into the world that day, though complications arose following the delivery. The mother was swiftly taken into emergency surgery, while the babies were carefully moved to the nursery. Catherine's voice sank to an even softer whisper. On that day, Lisa found herself immersed in the demands of a double shift. She felt utterly drained and ended up making an error in the records. Just a single infant was recorded under the mother's name. Michael experienced a sensation as though the very earth he stood on had vanished into thin air. Are you implying what I believe you're implying? Catherine nodded, her eyes brimming with emotion. My sister was in a state of panic. She was already under scrutiny for a prior medication mistake. She felt convinced that her nursing license was at risk and that she might even encounter criminal charges. She reached out in a panic, claiming she had taken the second baby, the one not registered, and urgently needed me to look after him for a few days while she sorted things out. Michael's shock was evolving into a simmering rage. Did your sister really take my son? Is our son? It wasn't meant to last, Catherine said hastily, her voice laden with remorse. However, I later learned from the news that the mother, whom I presume is your wife, had experienced significant hemorrhaging and was in a critical state. At that moment, Lisa was filled with dread about stepping forward. Michael recalled those shadowy times vividly, the dread of potentially losing Caroline, the restless nights spent at the hospital, and the intense mix of elation and fear that accompanied his new role as a father while his wife battled for her life. Caroline made it through, Michael stated bluntly. She made a complete recovery. Catherine acknowledged with a nod. Lisa was determined to discover a means to bring Ethan back. Tragically, she lost her life in a car accident merely 2 months later. Michael's anger subsided a bit at this unforeseen twist. He uttered the words with a practiced ease. I'm sorry for your loss. Following Lisa's passing, I became Ethan's sole remaining family. I found myself at a loss for what to do next. I had this precious baby boy who depended on me, and stepping forward felt insurmountable. How could I possibly articulate that my sister had taken a child and I had played a part in it? I reassured myself that your family had continued forward with your one healthy son. Disrupting everyone's lives after enduring so much trauma would only lead to further suffering. Michael rubbed his face, attempting to absorb all the information being presented to him. So you brought him up as your nephew. Catherine gave a slight nod. I cherish him as though he were my own. I have never married and have never had children of my own. Ethan became everything to me. Her voice trembled just a bit. I understand that what we did is beyond forgiveness. Rest assured, Ethan has experienced love and care every single day of his life. Michael glanced over at the sandbox, where Jamie and Ethan were engaged in lively conversation, collaborating on their castle construction. 6 years. He had been absent for 6 years of his son's life. A son he never knew was out there. Is Ethan aware of his adoption? Michael inquired. Indeed, Catherine responded. He understands that his mother, whom he believes was my sister, passed away when he was an infant and that I have been the one to raise him ever since. However, he remains unaware of the situation at hand. Michael's thoughts were whirling with possibilities. Legal consequences. Questions about custody. The profound effect on both boys. On each of them. I have no idea what comes next, Michael confessed, his voice tight with tension. Yet, I am fully aware that I will not turn my back on my son again, even if I was oblivious to it the first time. Catherine's expression faltered for a moment, yet she gave a nod. I comprehend. This day has always been a source of my apprehension. I never envisioned it would unfold this way, at a playground by sheer coincidence. If you had been residing in a different city or perhaps just across the way. Michael found himself unable to complete the thought. The sheer unpredictability of their encounter today was astonishing. If he had declined Jamie's invitation to visit this particular park, if they had arrived an hour earlier or later, if Ethan and Catherine had opted to explore a different location today. Mr. Ellison, Michael, Catherine stated with caution. What will your next move be? It was the question that held immense value. Michael glanced over at the boys who had transitioned from the sandbox to the grass nearby, seemingly engaged in a race toward a nearby tree. I have every legal right to take my son home today and pursue charges against you for your involvement in his abduction, Michael stated, observing Catherine's reaction to his words. However, that would deeply affect both boys in ways that are hard to comprehend. Regardless of your sister's actions or the decision you made to stay silent, it's evident that Ethan has deep feelings for you. You've been the sole parent he's ever had. Michael inhaled deeply. I'm in need of some time for contemplation. It is essential that we approach this with care, considering the well-being of both children involved. Rest assured, I will play an active role in Ethan's life from now on, and I am determined to assert my legal rights as his father. Catherine nodded, her expression a blend of relief and apprehension. I comprehend. I apologize for whatever it may be worth. While I have no regrets about loving and raising Ethan, I do lament the circumstances that surround it, for the decisions my sister took, and for my own timidity in failing to seek a resolution. They shared their contact details, both deciding to keep the complete truth from the boys for the time being. As the children were summoned back, Michael experienced a peculiar blend of feelings. Fury at the betrayal that had stolen precious years with his son, astonishment at the revelation of Ethan's existence, and an odd sense of appreciation that Catherine had, at the very least, provided his unseen son with a nurturing environment. It's time to head out, boys, Catherine announced. The two children sighed together, their matching looks of dismay nearly humorous in any other situation. Would it be possible for Jamie to visit our home at some point? Ethan inquired with enthusiasm. Turns out we share a passion for Legos, dinosaurs, and swimming. Catherine cast a sidelong look at Michael, her face betraying a hint of doubt. That's a matter Mr. Ellison and I will need to address. In a moment of spontaneity, Michael suggested that perhaps we should all head out for some ice cream together right now. Is that acceptable to Miss Porter? Catherine appeared taken aback but gave a nod of agreement. I believe that would be quite pleasant. Absolutely. The two boys erupted in cheers, high-fiving one another with the effortless bond of childhood friends who seemed to have shared a lifetime together, despite only having known each other for a mere 30 minutes. As they strolled toward the parking lot, Michael observed the two indistinguishable boys bounding ahead, seamlessly completing one another's thoughts. Caroline would have been utterly amazed by this turn of events. She would have understood precisely how to maneuver through these perilous emotional currents. Shall we rendezvous at Scoop Dreams on Pike Street? He received confirmation from Catherine, who gave a nod. We will be there, she assured, her tone unwavering even though the worry was evident in her gaze. As Michael assisted Jamie into his car seat, his son radiated with enthusiasm. Dad, Ethan and I both love the same dinosaur. and the identical preferred hue. Moreover, he possesses the ability to perform a cartwheel as well. Do you believe we might share a brotherly bond? Michael felt a sudden tightness in his throat. From the lips of little ones. What leads you to that conclusion, my friend? Jamie gave a slight shrug. We appear indistinguishable. Interestingly, our birthdays align perfectly. Tommy at school has a sibling who bears a striking resemblance to him, as they are indeed brothers. Could it be that Ethan is my brother? Michael ignited the engine, his thoughts swirling in a tempest. Shall we discuss that at a later time, then? At this moment, let's concentrate on ice cream. As he navigated the road toward the ice cream parlor, Michael's mind was consumed with thoughts of what lay ahead. How could he reveal the truth to Jamie? How could he assert his rights to Ethan without causing the boy distress? What type of custody arrangement might be effective in this unique situation? And beneath all these practical inquiries flowed a profound emotional undercurrent. He welcomed another son into the world. A child of his and Caroline's, living mere miles away, unbeknownst to him. A fragment of Caroline lingers on this earth, her smile and green eyes still shining brightly. Michael looked in the rearview mirror at Jamie, who was cheerfully humming to himself, and recalled Ethan, who was likely doing the very same thing in Catherine's car. Two indistinguishable boys sharing the same DNA yet leading divergent lives, shaped by unique experiences and distinct memories, until this very day when their journeys had at last intertwined. A single unexpected meeting at a playground had transformed everything. Michael was acutely aware that everything had irrevocably changed. At Scoop Dream's ice cream parlor, Michael observed Jamie and Ethan seated closely at a petite round table, their matching green eyes sparkling with excitement as the server approached with their enormous sundaes. They had requested the identical treat. Chocolate ice cream topped with hot fudge, a generous dollop of whipped cream, and a sprinkle of rainbow confetti. Absolutely no nuts. The occurrence was simultaneously unsettling and uplifting. This is my favorite ice cream place, Ethan told Jamie, as he scooped up a generous spoonful. Same here, Jamie declared with enthusiasm. My father takes me to this place following my piano lessons. Michael's gaze locked with Catherine's from across the table. Her expression held a certain caution, yet he could discern the same sense of wonder mirrored in her eyes. Do you also play the piano? Jamie inquired of Ethan. Ethan gave a slight shake of his head. Actually, I take drum lessons. Aunt Katie thinks I'm quite talented, though she feels I can be a bit too boisterous at times. Catherine beamed with warmth. The neighbors would certainly concur with that evaluation. Michael mentioned that Jamie was about to begin drum lessons, and he was taken aback by how steady his voice was, even though chaos swirled within him. His piano instructor proposed that it could enhance his sense of rhythm. Ethan offered enthusiastically, I could share some things I've learned. That sounds intriguing. Jamie responded. While the boys engaged in conversation, Michael subtly inclined his body toward Catherine. It's essential that we engage in deeper conversations. In a secluded manner. Are you available to meet tomorrow? Sent the boys. Catherine gave a slight nod. I could ask my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, to keep an eye on Ethan for a few hours. She frequently does so when I have appointments. They decided to rendezvous at a coffee shop the next afternoon. Michael understood he ought to reach out to his lawyer initially, yet that seemed too confrontational for an already intense emotional scenario. It would be wise to engage in a thoughtful and composed conversation with Catherine prior to bringing in any legal experts. Parting ways after ice cream turned out to be quite a challenge. The boys, having forged an immediate connection through their matching tastes and an unexpected array of shared interests, were hesitant to say goodbye. Is it possible for Ethan to visit our home tomorrow? As they got ready to depart, Jamie inquired of Michael. Michael paused, uncertainty flickering in his mind. Not happening tomorrow, my friend. But I assure you it will be soon. He shared a fleeting look with Catherine. In the near future, that evening after tucking Jamie in, Michael found himself in his home office, gazing at a photograph of Caroline, captured during their honeymoon in Greece. Her auburn hair glowed in the Mediterranean sun, and her smile exuded pure joy. He whispered to the photograph, recalling the days when we had 2 sons. 2 of a kind. Isn't it hard to fathom? I was completely unaware. His eyes brimmed with tears. You were completely unaware. This care deserves your presence. One must witness their presence in unison. They are truly remarkable. The following day, Michael showed up at the coffee shop a full 20 minutes ahead of schedule, his thoughts still swirling from the revelations of the previous day. He had hardly closed his eyes, immersed in the depths of late-night research on the legal ramifications of their predicament, envisioning every conceivable avenue ahead. Catherine arrived exactly on time, her appearance mirroring the weariness that Michael experienced. Once they had placed their coffee orders, they found a cozy corner table, away from the hustle and bustle of other customers. Catherine started, "I haven't mentioned anything to Ethan yet." I found myself at a loss for words. Michael confessed that he hadn't shared that with Jamie either. Even so, he's firmly convinced that they share a brotherly bond in some way. Catherine offered a faint smile, the innate understanding of children. Michael inhaled deeply. I have contemplated this situation from all perspectives. From a legal standpoint, I have the option to pursue criminal charges against you for your involvement in hiding Ethan's identity. I can initiate the custody process right away. However, Catherine urged, her grip on the coffee cup tightening, knuckles pale with tension. However, that method would deeply affect both boys, especially Ethan. He perceives you as a maternal presence in his life. Removing him from the only home he has ever known would be an act of cruelty, no matter the reasons that led him to that place. Catherine's shoulders eased a bit. I appreciate your attention to that. Since that first moment I spotted you at the park, a deep fear of losing him has gripped me. Michael clarified that he isn't ruling out the possibility of legal steps. There will have to be. However, I suggest we collaborate on a transition plan that emphasizes the boy's emotional health. What exactly are you proposing? Initially, I seek formal recognition of my role as a father, genetic testing to validate our existing knowledge, then official acknowledgement of my rights as Ethan's father. Next, a gradual unveiling of the truth to both boys, tailored to their age naturally. They already have an inkling that they might be brothers. We can definitely expand on that idea. Michael took a moment to assess Catherine's response before proceeding. Third, a custody arrangement that enables Ethan to keep his connection with you while also fostering a bond with me and his brother. Maybe we could begin with weekend visits and then progress to longer stays. In time, we might consider a more equitable setup. Catherine remained quiet for an extended period. Your level of reasonableness is exceeding my expectations. More than I deserve, perhaps. Don't get me wrong, Michael stated, his tone becoming a bit more rigid. The years I've lost with my son still fill me with anger. I'm heartbroken that Caroline passed away without ever knowing we had twins. However, imposing a punishment won't reverse the situation, and it definitely won't benefit either of the boys. Catherine nodded, her gaze lowered. In all honesty, I made an effort to gather information about you and your wife following Lisa's passing. What I understood was that the mother experienced complications following her delivery at Seattle Memorial on that date. I delved into the news archives, eager to uncover something, yet found nothing precise enough to guide me to you. Why not just reach out to the hospital directly? Inquire about the occurrence of twin births on that specific date. Catherine let out a weary breath. Terror. By that time, several months had gone by. I felt a deep fear of what might happen, not just for myself and Lisa's memory, but especially for Ethan. I convinced myself that he was in a better situation with me than facing the uncertainties of the foster system while things were being resolved. She locked eyes with Michael. I recognized my mistake. For 6 years, that knowledge has been a constant presence in my life. Michael grasped the intricacies of the situation, even as a part of him yearned to unleash his fury against the unfairness of it all. The past remains unchangeable. However, we can make an effort to ensure fairness for both boys as we progress. Following their meeting, they reached a consensus on the next steps to take. Later that week, there would be DNA testing, followed by a meeting with a family attorney that Michael was familiar with. A playdate for the boys would be arranged over the weekend, marking the start of intertwining their lives. 3 days later, Michael's longtime friend and personal attorney, Rafael Moreno, sat across from him in his office, meticulously reviewing the preliminary DNA results. "It's a match, clearly," Rafael remarked, placing the report on the table. "There is an almost certain chance that you are Ethan's biological father, with the same likelihood that the boys are identical twins. From a legal standpoint, we find ourselves in uncharted waters, Michael." "In what way?" Michael inquired, despite having dedicated hours to researching comparable cases and having a strong suspicion of the answer. Cases of baby switching usually entail hospitals mistakenly sending infants home with the incorrect families. Each family is an innocent party. This situation involves a deliberate act of taking a child, accompanied by a prolonged period of secrecy lasting 6 years. Rafael inclined his body slightly, eager to engage. "Catherine Porter may be confronted with significant criminal charges, with accessory to kidnapping being the least of her concerns." Michael gave a slight nod. "However, going after those charges would separate Ethan from the only parent he has ever known. I cannot subject my son Rafe to that." Rafael observed his friend with keen attention. "Your compassion has always shone through, Michael. It stands out as one of your finest attributes. Are you really convinced that this method is the most effective? Ms. Porter was involved in keeping your child hidden from you for 6 years. After her sister took him, Michael made things clear. Catherine indeed made some unfortunate choices, perhaps those that are beyond forgiveness. Yet, she embraced the role of nurturing and caring for my son during the times I was unable to. That holds some significance." Michael's assistant, Diane Wilson, knocked on the door, breaking the flow of their conversation. Diane had served as Michael's indispensable ally at Horizon Technologies for 5 years, expertly navigating both his professional and occasional personal matters with remarkable efficiency and discretion. "Apologies for the interruption," Diane remarked, "but your 1 o'clock appointment has arrived." Michael glanced at his watch. "Please send them in." "Diane, would you mind clearing my schedule for the remainder of the afternoon? There are some family issues that need attention." Diane arched an eyebrow yet gave a nod of agreement. "Absolutely. Is there anything more you require?" "Indeed, yes. I will be reorganizing my work schedule in the upcoming weeks. Could you arrange a meeting with the executive team for Monday morning? I must notify them about certain modifications." Once Diane departed, Rafael collected his documents. "I will prepare the legal documents we talked about. Keep in mind, Michael, to move with caution. The courts will ultimately prioritize the children's well-being, but asserting your paternal rights while ensuring Catherine remains involved in Ethan's life will necessitate careful maneuvering." The next Saturday, Catherine took Ethan to Michael's house for their inaugural family playdate. Michael had dedicated the morning to anxious preparations, meticulously arranging Jamie's toys for sharing and filling the refrigerator with snacks he hoped would please Ethan. "What a lovely home," Catherine remarked as Michael ushered them in. Her tone conveyed appreciation without a hint of envy, yet the difference between Michael's expansive lakeside residence and Catherine's humble apartment, which Michael had seen briefly while collecting Ethan's DNA sample, was striking. "Thank you," Michael remarked. "It was the home of Caroline's dreams. We acquired it when she became pregnant, envisioning a future filled with children." Neither of them overlooked the irony in that statement. Jamie dashed around the corner, drawn by the sound of voices. "Ethan, you must come and take a look at my room. I created a racetrack." The boys vanished up the stairs, their matching sneakers pounding against the steps. "Care for a cup of coffee?" Michael extended an offer to Catherine, who remained in the entryway, her posture reflecting a hint of awkwardness. She agreed to follow him into the kitchen. While Michael busied himself with their drinks, he caught sight of Catherine intently examining a photograph affixed to the refrigerator. Caroline cradling newborn Jamie in the hospital. Catherine remarked gently, "She was beautiful." "Indeed, she was," Michael concurred, passing Catherine her coffee. "Absolutely brilliant as well. She dedicated her career to the study of the environment. We crossed paths at a conference where I delivered a talk on green energy initiatives." Catherine beamed. "Ethan possesses a remarkable fascination with science for someone his age." At last, I understand its origin. They found themselves immersed in a surprisingly comfortable dialogue, exchanging tales from the boys' formative years. Catherine retrieved her phone to share with Michael the snapshots of Ethan's initial steps, his first day at preschool, and the celebration of his 5th birthday. Michael felt a deep sense of gratitude for these fleeting insights into his son's world. Yet he was also burdened by the pain of all the moments he had overlooked. The playdate unfolded beautifully, as Jamie and Ethan unearthed a wealth of shared interests and habits. They both drifted off to sleep in their socks, but as soon as they awoke, they peeled them off without hesitation. They meticulously arranged their food, ensuring that different items remained separate on their plates. An unshakable dread of automatic hand dryers in public restrooms haunted them both. Catherine couldn't help but be amazed as she observed the boys constructing an intricate Lego masterpiece. The age-old debate of nature versus nurture unfolds vividly before us. Michael remarked that Caroline would have found it utterly captivating. Her fascination with twin studies was ever-present. Caroline's name stirred a lingering question in Michael's mind, one that had been weighing on him for some time. Catherine, I've been curious. Did Ethan ever face any health concerns? Has he undergone testing for the BRCA1 gene mutation? Catherine appeared taken aback. No, why would he be? Michael felt a heavy weight in his chest. Caroline's cancer was associated with a BRCA1 mutation. It runs in the family, and the boys have a 50% likelihood of inheriting it. Jamie underwent testing at the age of 4, and fortunately, the results came back negative. However, Ethan ought to undergo testing as well. Catherine's complexion drained of color. I was completely unaware. Absolutely, we will arrange for his testing immediately. This instance of mutual parental worry appeared to alter their relationship in a significant way. A gentle reminder that despite their history, both had Ethan's best interests at heart. In the weeks that followed, Michael and Catherine settled into a rhythm. Ethan dedicated his Saturdays to Michael's home, providing the twins with precious moments together and enabling Michael to nurture his bond with his recently found son. The boys were given a straightforward account of their past, one that spoke of a hospital error that had kept them apart since birth, and now, fate had brought them back together. Are we truly brothers? Jamie had inquired, his eyes wide with curiosity. Not merely brothers, but identical twins, Michael had clarified. You developed from the same egg in your mother's womb, resulting in identical DNA. What is DNA? Ethan inquired. It's akin to a guide that shapes your identity, Catherine had interjected. The reason lies in the shared hue of your eyes and hair, and the reasons behind our mutual disdain for broccoli, Jamie had declared with a sense of victory. The boys embraced this explanation with the impressive flexibility typical of youth. They were absolutely delighted by the revelation, eagerly accepting their twin identity and the unique connection it symbolized. The grown-ups encountered greater difficulties with the transition. Catherine faced challenges with the looming transformations in her life alongside Ethan, while Michael wrestled with defining boundaries and expectations within this unique family dynamic. Assistance arrived from an unforeseen origin. Eleanor Ellison, Michael's mother, arrived from Chicago when he finally revealed the remarkable news. Are there twins? Eleanor had exclaimed during the video call. My goodness, Michael. I must witness this firsthand. Eleanor's arrival introduced a fresh layer to their developing family dynamic. At 70, she was an unstoppable force. An experienced family court judge, known for a straightforward approach yet possessing a deep sense of empathy. Catherine, Eleanor remarked during their initial meeting at Michael's residence. I see you've been caring for my grandson for 6 years without being aware of who he really is. Catherine gave a hesitant nod. Absolutely, ma'am. Eleanor examined her with great attention. It seems you've truly excelled in your efforts. He shines with intelligence, courtesy, and joy. That conveys a great deal. Catherine's shoulders relaxed noticeably. Eleanor possessed a unique ability to dispel discomfort by addressing it head-on. Now, Eleanor continued, glancing at both Ethan and Jamie, who were observing her with interest. Which one of you would like to demonstrate your piano skills for your grandmother? Michael mentioned that you two are currently taking lessons. With Eleanor's guidance, they started to create traditions that embraced everyone. Every Sunday, a delightful tradition unfolded as Catherine and Ethan gathered with Michael, Jamie, and Eleanor at Michael's inviting home. Eleanor instructed both boys in the art of crafting her renowned apple pie, while Catherine enchanted everyone with her spontaneous storytelling, weaving intricate tales that captivated her audience. Michael was increasingly struck by Catherine's unwavering commitment to Ethan and her readiness to accept this new family dynamic, even with the potential risks it posed to her bond with the boys she had nurtured as her own. He observed her lack of competition or attempts to undermine his growing bond with Ethan, a kindness of character he hadn't anticipated at first. At work, Michael had rearranged his schedule to create additional opportunities for quality time with both boys. He entrusted greater responsibilities to his competent executive team and established a firm home-by-6 policy for himself. Diane, his assistant, proved to be an indispensable partner during this shift, staunchly safeguarding his new limits and reorganizing his schedule to emphasize family obligations. Mr. Reynolds from the Singapore office is inquiring about your availability for a dinner meeting next Thursday. One afternoon, Diane conveyed the information to him. Without a moment's pause, Michael stated that Thursday is the night for the piano recital. The two boys are showcasing their talents. Let's arrange for him to join us for lunch on Friday instead. Diane beamed. Completed it already. I'm simply putting you to the test. The legal dimensions of their predicament unfolded gradually yet consistently. Under Raphael's guidance, Michael successfully established his paternity rights, while Catherine maintained legal guardianship of Ethan with Michael's agreement. They were striving to establish a formal co-parenting agreement that would acknowledge both their contributions to Ethan's life. For months after that pivotal day at the playground, they encountered their first significant hurdle when Catherine was presented with a job opportunity in Portland, a 3-hour journey from Seattle. Catherine shared her thoughts during a private conversation with Michael, emphasizing the incredible opportunity at hand. The senior librarian role offers improved compensation and benefits. For years, I've patiently awaited an opportunity like this. Michael experienced a chilling twist in his gut. However, it would involve separating Ethan from Jamie. From my perspective, after we've only just discovered one another, Catherine let out a deep breath. I understand. I wanted to talk it over with you before moving forward with any choices. I find myself in a dilemma, Michael. This opportunity could bring us greater financial stability, yet I am reluctant to separate the boys once more. They lingered in a charged quiet, each fully conscious of the conflicting interests at play. At last, Michael found his voice. What if you could have it all? Could you clarify what you mean? Horizon maintains a satellite office in Portland. I could divide my time between different places and maintain an apartment in one of them. The boys might go to the same school, primarily reside with you in Portland, and spend every other weekend and holidays with me. I might soar high often during the week. Catherine appeared taken aback. Is that something you would consider? Transform your whole existence. Michael held her gaze with unwavering intensity. Catherine, I lost 6 years with my son. I'm no longer absent. I refuse to be the cause of those boys being torn apart once more. Catherine's voice trembled with emotion as she expressed her admiration for such a remarkably generous solution. But what of Jamie? Is he considering a move to Portland as well? We would divide our time. Whenever Ethan is by my side, Jamie will be there as well. While I'm in Seattle, Jamie will accompany me. While it may not be perfect, it's a solution that maintains the boys' connection and honors your professional aspirations. They engaged in an extensive dialogue about logistics, each dedicated to discovering a solution that would satisfy all parties involved. When their conversation came to a close, they had crafted a plan that, though intricate, placed the twins' bond at the forefront and respected the contributions of both adults in their upbringing. That weekend, they brought both boys together to discuss the possible changes ahead. To their delight, Jamie and Ethan welcomed the idea with great enthusiasm. Are we going to attend the same school then? Ethan inquired with enthusiasm. And possess 2 residences? Jamie included. One located in Portland and another right here? Indeed, that was the confirmation from Michael. We're currently fine-tuning the specifics. Awesome, the two boys shouted together, then burst into laughter at their perfectly timed reaction. Later that evening, after the boys had settled in for the night, Michael discovered Catherine on his back deck, gazing out at the lake. "A penny for your thoughts," he remarked as he joined her at the railing. Catherine beamed with delight. I found myself reflecting on the myriad ways this situation could have unfolded. Had you been a different sort of person, one lacking in understanding and filled with vengeance, the outcome could have been catastrophic for all, particularly for the boys. Michael confessed to experiencing his share of anger. There are still days when I reflect on all that I overlooked, and a surge of anger rises within me. Yet, when I gaze at Ethan, his confidence and kindness shine through, and I realize that's a reflection of you, Catherine. You didn't merely sustain him, you empowered him to flourish. Catherine pivoted to confront him. "I've been wanting to share something with you," she said as she retrieved an envelope from her pocket. "I have maintained a journal since Ethan was an infant. Significant achievements, humorous anecdotes, obstacles faced. I thought you might appreciate having copies of these entries to help fill in some of the gaps." Michael took the envelope, unexpectedly touched by the gesture. "Thanks a lot. That holds significant value." Catherine pressed on, revealing more. "My sister Lisa left behind a letter among her personal belongings. It was meant for my eyes only, to be opened upon her passing. Within its pages, she revealed all, naming the parents from whom she had taken Ethan, Michael and Caroline Ellison. She implored me to bring him back if anything were to occur to her." Michael gazed at her, taken aback. "You were aware of our names? Has it really been this long?" Catherine's eyes brimmed with tears. "Indeed, it stands as the most regrettable chapter of my narrative. 3 days after her funeral, I discovered the letter. At that point, Ethan had nearly reached the age of 3 months. I had already succumbed entirely to my feelings for him. I promised myself I would make the effort, maybe set up some form of joint arrangement. Yet, as weeks turned into months, the more I lingered, the more challenging it became to envision letting him go or confessing my actions. What prompts you to share this with me at this moment?" Michael inquired, his voice strained. Catherine responded with a straightforwardness that reflected the heavy toll secrets had already taken on this family. "I want you to know that I am dedicated to being truthful from here on out, regardless of the challenges it may bring." Michael nodded thoughtfully, absorbing this new information. A part of him yearned to retaliate against this ultimate betrayal, yet he acknowledged the bravery it required for Catherine to reveal the truth. "In the end, we all find ourselves facing decisions that haunt us," he remarked at last. "What truly counts is our next steps." After 2 years, their unique family had settled into a harmonious routine. The Portland arrangement exceeded all expectations. Michael had acquired a cozy residence in that area, merely 10 minutes away from Catherine's apartment. The boys went to the same school, engaged in the same activities, and shared weekends together, no matter which parent they were with. Michael had transformed his professional landscape, elevating Diane to COO while scaling back his own responsibilities to prioritize family time. Eleanor had moved to Portland too, unable to endure the thought of being apart from her grandsons. She acquired a quaint cottage close to Michael's residence and seamlessly integrated into their network of support. On a balmy summer evening, everyone convened in Michael's backyard to celebrate the twins' 8th birthday. Jamie and Ethan, looking even more alike than ever, were demonstrating to their grandmother their flawless synchronized cartwheels across the lawn. Catherine informed Michael as they arranged the picnic table for dinner that they had been practicing for weeks. They are resolute in their decision to audition for the gymnastics team this fall. Michael beamed as he observed his son's playful antics. Those children are truly remarkable. We are fortunate. Diane, a dear friend and colleague, arrived with a stunning birthday cake adorned with the boys' favorite video game characters. "Apologies for my tardiness," she said with regret. The board meeting extended beyond the expected duration. "How is the company managing in my absence each day?" Michael playfully taunted. Diane responded with a smile. "Thriving, actually. While we long for your motivating addresses." Raphael showed up soon after, carrying 2 gift bags. "Where are the birthday boys?" I have something they've been eagerly anticipating. The twins called out, "Uncle Rafe!" as they left their gymnastics display behind and dashed toward him. Michael took in the scene with a heart brimming with emotion. His sons were vibrant and joyful, enveloped by those who cherished them. Catherine's gaze met his from across the yard, and she offered a smile that spoke of mutual comprehension. Their journey had been unconventional, marked by loss and deception, yet ultimately redeemed by forgiveness and the daily choice to embrace hope. As they gathered around the table for dinner, Michael stood to make a toast. 8 years ago today, two beautiful little souls entered our lives. Amidst a peculiar sequence of occurrences, they ventured down separate roads for a time. Yet destiny, or maybe something more deliberate than destiny, reunited them once more. He surveyed the gathered expressions. His mother, his sons, Catherine, Raphael, Diane. This family was crafted not through conventional ties but through the power of choice and love. He lifted his glass once more, directing his toast towards Jamie and Ethan. May you forever be aware of the countless hearts that cherish you, and may you always find solace in one another. To Jamie and Ethan, all voices resonated. As the festivities began to fade and the twins vanished upstairs with their newly acquired treasures, Catherine settled beside Michael on the porch swing. She spoke gently. "Caroline would be proud. Of the boys, certainly, but also of you and the way you've navigated everything." Michael nodded, his throat constricted with feeling. "I find myself pondering that frequently. How she would perceive our peculiar little family." Catherine responded, "It's not that strange. Simply grander and more affectionate than anyone anticipated." As the sun dipped below the horizon of their Portland neighborhood, Michael pondered the path that had led them to this moment. A single unexpected meeting at a playground transformed everything, uncovering not only a concealed light, but also highlighting the remarkable ability of the human heart to grow beyond anticipated limits. He had come to understand that family was not merely a matter of genetics or legalities, even though those aspects held significance. It was shaped by everyday decisions to nurture, to let go, to value affection over bitterness, opportunity over suffering. It was chaotic and flawed, perpetually changing just like each of them. Observing his twin sons, one he had nurtured since infancy, the other still a mystery to him, Michael was certain that this was the only path he could accept. As the twilight deepened, the twins made their way back to the yard, diving into an intricate game of their own design, a blend of tag and imagination that only they could truly grasp. Their laughter resonated throughout the garden, a testament to resilience and joy, capturing the unexpected treasures that life occasionally offers. Thank you for tuning in to today's tale featuring Michael, Jamie, and Ethan. Life often presents unforeseen obstacles, yet it also offers remarkable reunions and opportunities for redemption. This narrative serves as a poignant reminder that family transcends mere biology. It is shaped by our daily choices to love, forgive, and prioritize others. Occasionally, the most exquisite families emerge from unexpected situations, and restoration can occur even following profound loss or betrayal. The most remarkable blessing these twins experienced wasn't merely the discovery of one another, though that was indeed extraordinary, but rather the presence of adults who chose to put aside their own egos and heartaches to forge something truly beautiful for those who would come after. If this story resonated with you, we would love for you to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more touching family tales. We invite you to share your reflections on Michael and Catherine's journey and the unique family dynamic they crafted that embraced everyone's needs. Be sure to share your location with us while you tune in. Until we meet again, keep in mind that often the most unexpected turns in life can result in our most exquisite stories. Thank you for tuning in.